Yes, like right now, I think you get a good deal. I'm going to answer some real estate questions from people in my community. And the first question is from Jane. Shout out to Jane. The question is it really the best time to consider selling my home? And if so, what are the options for purchasing into something that is maybe less expensive for a senior downsizing? Okay, I answer this question a bunch of different ways. All right, I think that the answer is it depends. Someone who's a senior, like I think the question is like, what is the reason that you're downsizing? I think that this is something that needs to be answered. Okay, so I'm just going to assume that when she's saying is it the best time, I think maybe she's meaning perhaps from like a financial perspective. So she has the ability to move now. She knows that she needs to move for whatever reason that is. She's just trying to figure out like, how can I capitalize on the market? Okay, so here is the best way, in my opinion. Okay? Interest rates are still, I would say elevated compared to how they've been in the past, okay? And because of that, it has created a situation where we have more inventory on the market, okay? And this is really specific to my market, so I am in Everett, Washington. Now, the issue with someone wanting to downsize into something less expensive into Everett, lower end for a less expensive property is probably around $500,000 to $600,000, depending on what it is. If it's like a single family house, if it's a condo, I think you can do less. For a lot of people, like a senior that's on a fixed income, for example, 500 is still pretty expensive. The question is like, what price is it that you're willing to accept? So there's like assumptions in my mind, like let's assume that you've owned your property for some time and you have equity, right? So like, let's say you owned your home through the pandemic, you built up equity, maybe you're going to go into this new property as a cash buyer, or maybe you're going to do cash and maybe finance a little bit. Your prospects are great. I think the best way to capitalize on it, though, this would just be ideal and it's very inconvenient. This is one possibility, is maybe what you do is if you're having to sell your property in the springtime. Come into like a time like right now where inventory is a little bit higher. So it's kind of more like we're still kind of in a seller's market, but it's kind of like buyer-esque, right? Because it's slowed down a lot. So you have some room to negotiate more and, there's like less competition. So you're not going to be driving prices up as much. You want to kind of like find those holes in the market and use a real estate agent to help you with that. The other possibility is to do some kind of like use a financial instrument of some kind. So this might be like maybe you get like a HELOC on your current home, right? So you get a HELOC so that way you have some cash. That way when you're making an offer, you can make a really, really strong offer. So maybe you get a HELOC, like maybe like portfolio or niche financial instruments that are designed really to help people in that exact position. I own something right now and I want to move into something else, make that transition smoothly, to do a lot of competing. Okay. Because that's the thing you want to maybe like avoid that, right? Because in a market like mine, we only get like 20 single family houses under 500,000 a year. There's just a lot of competition for those. And so you want to really try to like not be in a situation where you're with somebody that's like well-funded is the word that I want to use, well-funded, and is either like a cash buyer or they have a huge down payment. Yes, like right now, I think you get a good deal. Like make this swap in 2025, boom, go for it right now. Yeah, I would. I just put somebody under contract that got like closing cost credit, lower purchase price, on a condo. Kind of like these different markets though. So, you got to kind of really be aware of like, what is it that you're trying to switch into? Are you trying to switch into something where it's like, there's a lot of competition? Or are you switching into something that has less competition? If you're switching into something with less competition, I think you're going to have a whole lot more negotiating room. And I would even say for someone who is switching into something that had been competitive in the past, right? I think you still have a lot of space for negotiating. So shout out to Jane. Thank you for the first questions. If you're just curious about the value of your house, shoot me a DM, no pressure. We'll just take a look at it and see what it might be worth. And we can talk about like opportunities in the Everett market or Snohomish County or wherever you're interested. Other than that, if you have a question that you want to ask me, like this could be any real estate related question at any level, please leave it down in comments. I'd be to those questions that everybody wants to ask, but you never get around to asking it, or you've never had like someone that was willing to answer them, this is the place.